In the future, we have but this pride in our hearts to lift us to tomorrow. 'Cause just to sit still would be the same. 12 radical organizing partners in Boston, and we welcome them.
Thank you. And the Spirit connects us together and enables us to not just think about what our individual situation is, but how we relate to each other. You know, how we experience the oneness and how we move together in the oneness. To me, organizing is in fact a spiritual process, because organizing is about us working together to create a oneness in which there is love and justice for all.
Good morning, I'm Ntanya.
And I'm Steve.
And so I'm going to start out sharing a little bit of background about More Than We Imagined. So the project was called Ear to the Ground. Steve and I are longtime organizers in the Bay and elsewhere. And after 15, 20 years of on-the-ground community organizing in poor and working class communities of color in San Francisco and other places, he and I decided to embark upon a kind of a crazy project where we decided that we wanted to go around the country and listen. We wanted to listen to organizers who are on the front lines of struggle about their assessments of this period. We wanted to hear their reflections on what was happening in our movement and their ideas about which way forward. So we talked to 158 organizers in 30 communities all over the country, in 20-something states. I just forgot the exact number. We talked to people from incredible racially diverse across many sectors of our movement in different organizational roles. We talked to frontline organizers, we talked to organizing directors and executive directors and
base building differently. And it's not even just not enough investment in it, but not enough embracing of that kind of experimentation.
We get trained to a certain extent to sort of operate within the confines of what's realistic to us, what reality is right now. And I think that's an obstacle to getting out of the shitstorm that we're in.
We found that what was unique, what was in common was that 65% of people that we interviewed, of those 158 people across the country, identified as some form of anti-capitalist, which we were surprised by. Our culture, the way we respond to each other, needs to change. That we need to renew movement culture, our ability to have healthy communication with one another and healthy dialogue, to discuss and debate our political differences in a way where we can respect each other we need to answer some strategic questions about our vision, about the conditions of this moment, about the balance of forces in this country right now.
Central tasks, I think, for us is going to be to come up with this vision of what it is that winning looks like for us. And it's going to be an experiment. But there are lots of people who are depending on us being successful in this project and accepting nothing less. So the tasks then that we see ourselves doing to carry out that objective is first to strengthen organizations and movements. We think that an organized grouping of leftists talking to one another, strategizing together, can play a key role in helping to strengthen those movements. And then the second one really sort of touches on this point of the interconnection between racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, recognizing that those systems operate independently. And so some people on the left have historically said, well, once you deal with capitalism, racism will just go away, so you don't actually have to deal with racism. Well, as Melanie pointed out, right, the way that capitalism plays out is racialized. So then the third point is that victory is ultimately going to require both movements, organizations, but it also requires left formations. The next one is that we need to deal with the ecological crisis, and that needs to be a core point of our vision. And so we need to sort of go back to the traditions that come out of a lot of the indigenous communities around the globe. Next is that liberation's got to cross all borders, that we can't just build a liberated society in the United States, especially recognizing the role that the United States has played in undermining liberation and justice around the rest of the globe, is that in the process of transforming society, trying to fight against the state and the ruling class and the corporations, we also have to think about how it is that we're transforming ourselves. And then the last one is that strategy and not dogma has to be our guide.
There's some immediate things that are coming up. So the next Left Roots Hangout, which is open to anyone who's interested, it's not a closed situation, is September 5th. Kind of in process right now.
Are there ways?
Things that we did have to do on the